hello.
Hello.
Look at this
Wow.
crowd. Oh, my God. You guys must be here to see Angela.
And Tony. You know what? A lot of these spaces, they got here early. Made sure they got the good seats.
Are you guys having a good time? So you guys have to give this guy a round of applause when we call him out here, because we have given you so much since we boarded this cruise, haven't we? And this is the second half of the cruise, so you know we plan to give you more.
Can I bring him out?
You can bring him out.
Oh, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, a moment we've all been waiting for. Put your hands together. Grammy Award winning. He's won all kinds of awards, and he's all ours today. Peabo Bryson. Yes. Love you.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my
God.
goodness. He's back.
Peabo.
Hi, everybody. It is good to be here. And first and foremost, I want to thank everyone for, if you said a prayer when I was not able to pray for myself, or those of you who prayed for me, thank you so very much for your kindness.
For sure.
Peabo,
There's power
you
in
look
prayer.
good.
People, I know at that time, Twitter just blew up, you know, on that day. I mean, it was unbelievable, you know.
It was unprecedented for me, that much attention. I mean, it's that much outpouring of love in one place. Again, there's power in prayer, but that kind of concentrated prayer like that is a magnificent thing to wake up to. See, the thing is, I literally could not pray for myself. I mean, it felt like I went to sleep and I woke up like 5 days later.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a long time to be out. And if you flatline for as long as I did, I flatlined long enough to make friends on the other side.
Wow.
So that's a long time. 28, 30 minutes is a long time on the other side. That's a...
Yeah.
You don't know you're going to come back, but that prayer, again, I'm just telling you.
Yeah, well, for those of you that didn't know, Peabo suffered a heart attack at that time. So, you know, it's we're so happy. Yeah. We're so happy that he's here, and we have to give him a round of applause.
We were talking about this earlier. It turns out that the heart attack is fairly easy to get over. You just got to do all the right things. I mean all the right things. So and it turns out that I'm in better shape physically than I was prior to the heart attack, and post heart attack. I'm just in the best shape. Suddenly now I don't have hypertension anymore. It's missing. I mean, and everything is where it's supposed to be, doing what it's supposed to be doing. Bodies are meant to be in motion. And when you become inactive, you make yourself a suspect and a target. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is drink as much water as you possibly can, because that dehydration is no joke, and especially the older you get, you have one episode with it, it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse, you know. And everything is about the level of your blood flow. You know, I mean, if the blood ain't flowing right, you are not going to be right. Your body's not going to be right. So you learn basic things like that. And it turns out that actually dying's not that hard. It didn't hurt that much, you know. So, you know, right?
My goodness.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't hurt that much.
I've never heard it explained that way.
Neither have I.
Hey, when you've been on that other side, it's like, you know, it's not like you think either. By the way, there's that. It's not those things. It's the living afterwards that's the really difficult part. I mean, why are you still here? You know, and you have to ask yourself those hard questions like, are you a good father? Are you a good husband? Are you a good friend? Are you a good brother? You know, are you a good human being? Then you have to ask yourself the question that makes the answer. I mean, the answer to that is yes for me. But the answer that makes that answer null and void is, can you be a better all those?
How about that?
You know, and if the answer to that is yes as well, then you got work to do. And here's the thing about, I felt things like resentment. You know, I didn't think I would feel resentment for still being here, because here's the thing: for what you did for me, praying for me when I couldn't pray for myself, I can never thank you enough for that. I can't. What do I do? What do I give you? You know, so the only thing I can give anybody, how about it? You know, the only thing I can give you is a better version of me. You know, that's the only thing I got to give you at this particular. The only thing we have to give each other is that. That's all I ever had to give to start with. I mean, so you start to figure things like that out, and then you start to get to the realization of why you're still here, to actually become a better version of who you are in every aspect. But the problem with that is the resentment came with me with, wait a minute, I got to do this every day, and I don't get like weekends off or holidays. You don't get any. No, you don't. And I didn't know how I felt about that. It's like, wait, I'm still here, but it's hard to be good every day. Yeah.
It's interesting. We had Regina Bell
Right.
on the show, and she talked about her life, and it's funny how we come here to talk about music.
Exactly.
And we end up talking about life, but I guess life
But
is
music
music.
is life, isn't it?
Correct.
For me it is, and for you it is too. I mean, it always has been. That's why it represents it. We talk about this because this is important. This is important to the music. I mean, it's important to be working with Terry and Jimmy again at this particular point. I mean, I'm doing a cover of a UB40 song called 1 in 10. 1 in 10, you know this song? 1 in 10 is a great socially conscious thing that's so relevant right now, just in terms of who we are as a culture and who we are as what's the level of society, where we are in society at this particular point, and how at odds we are in society at this particular point. So you're black. You're kind of born a statistic, in a lot of different ways. I'm kind of tired of being a statistic, and I'm tired of being ignored as what that is and being that. My little boy is 2 years old, and I don't want him to be a statistic. I mean, I got to work really hard. We have to work really hard so that our children don't become statistics, or to change whatever their status is. We have to do it. But we're the only culture in this country that actually has to do it besides the Latino community. Yeah. We're the only culture, the only two cultures in this country that has to do it. Sometimes it's if you left here and you wake up 5 days later, then you have to say things like this. This is part of why I'm still here. So that's why the why I'm still here is as important as the music itself, because they're really one and the same.
You talk about being a better person
Right.
on all levels. You, before the heart attack, you were an amazing singer. And,
Still is, actually.
And that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah, but
to get better than that, I can't even imagine what that looks like.
Well, here's the thing, but you have to get better to get better as an artist, you have to get better as a person. You have to get better as a human being. You have to get better as a friend and better as a lover. And you have to get better as a father and better as a brother. And just better and better in general, And that's a hard thing to do. I used to think that my personal thoughts and my personal individual reactions that are in my head or that they all belong to me. But the truth is, if you're an artist and if you're married, they don't belong to you anymore. They belong to the people that you give them to, then the people that you're obligated to. My wife owns that. And if I'm going to tell the truth about something in my music, you own that. So all these things it's everything is everything, literally.
Well, can I have that royalty check that you?
Yes,
get?
you see.
Since I own
It's
your
not
music, can I
it's
have
not like he's not getting a big one himself, right?
You know what?
He's not sharing his with me.
Hello. Well, you know what? In terms of just owning how good you are, I was chatting with a mutual friend, Will Downing, another
Love him.
amazing singer, and we were chatting about something else. And I said, I'm getting ready to do this interview with Peabo Bryson, and he goes, "Oh my goodness, that is one of my vocal heroes." So how does, Will and a lot of other
He's very
singers.
gracious, and a lot of artists and vocalists are very gracious in that regard. And Will Dunn is one of those people that, if he's a lot like me in that if you're talking about great vocalists, he's easy to forget for some reason. We're easy to forget. I'm easy to forget. He's easy to forget. No. Well,
No, sir.
here's the thing. You don't see my name bandied about out there like that. I mean, but if I'm in a room with you, I'm undeniable. If I'm standing, if you wanna talk about singing, or I'll put this down and we will sing. I said I'll put this down. That's where you want to go. And that's the other thing about being blessed. I mean, that's the other portion of the whole getting past the heart attack and becoming a better me is, and you alluded to it. I wasn't thinking of becoming a better singer. I was just hoping to get back to where I was, And you don't know that that's even going to be afforded to you. There's a level of humility here that reminds you of just how mortal every aspect of your life is, and that anything can be taken away from us anytime. So I'm glad that I've always been nice to you, so you've always been nice to me. And if I hadn't been, you wouldn't have prayed for me, and I wouldn't be here now, probably. It does. I mean, I didn't even know my wife knows CPR. I didn't even know. She's like, he's not breathing. She breathed for me for 10 minutes before the paramedics got there. Here's the thing about that. Now I got a knot on the back of my head. I think she tried to pull me off the bed, and I was too heavy at the time. I mean, she could pull me off the bed now because, I've been in the gym. But then I don't think she could. I mean, it's a daunting thing to I wouldn't want to trade places with what my family had to go through, what they had to see, and what they had to live with in terms of not knowing whether I was brain dead or, if I was ever going to rise again or not knowing my cardiologist is not one of those, I'm going to hype you up and give you hope. Listen, hey. When he goes like that, and he said, I'm not telling you anything. It's bad. So it's you look at it like that. I wouldn't want to trade places with them because I wouldn't want to go through what they had to go through for 5 days. Me, I was asleep.
That's very interesting because we had a very serious conversation with Regina about her health.
Correct. She had such a health scare.
She's a spokesman for AARP.
Yeah.
And some of the information that you learn from AARP,
Correct.
and then some of the things that family members have to deal with immediately when things like that happen to a loved one.
Tough,
So it's a serious thing.
It's what my folks had to go through was so serious, and it took me 2 months afterwards, post heart attack, to hear all of the stories and be able to piece it together in a sequence. 2 months. Wow. 2 months. And let me just say this. They as a precaution now, they give you a drug to try to make sure you you don't remember the trauma of it, right? I didn't want to be robbed of that. And here's the thing: I'm not one of those people. You can't hypnotize me. I'm not. I'm just not gonna. I can't be hypnotized. I mean, if I did, I wouldn't smoke ever. But my point is, I'm not one of those people. I'm very strong. My mind that's my thing. Might probably be my greatest asset. So if that's damaged in some sort of way, or I don't know if I want to actually be here in that regard. But at the same time, when I was home for a couple of months, and actually this was only a couple of months ago, I walked out on my deck and I realized I had a flashback. And I did have a flashback, and it's like there's a man standing in my yard. He's 20 feet away from me. He's standing in my yard, and he's giving me a 3/4 profile of himself. He's very well dressed. I know he knows me. I don't know him, but I know he's there for me. And he's very ordinary looking. I mean, there's nothing that would stand out about it except for the suit was just well tailored. I can tell you that. He was dressed to the nines. But in an ordinary way, nothing stuck out. It was just, he was very ordinary, but not ordinary. But you understand what I mean? And he wouldn't look me directly in the eye. And that kind of that. I don't know how I felt about that. I don't know if he was looking away. I don't know if he looked at me that something was going to be different about this experience, or I don't know. I don't know that yet, but I did have that flashback, and every once in a while I have a flashback of that day and what actually took place afterwards, or during those 5 days, or there's bits and pieces that flash here and flash there, but it's nothing like what you think.
Wow.
It's nothing like what we think it is.
And
there is something on the other side, trust me.
Uh-oh. Wow. Well, before we get into all that,
Yeah, angels scare me to death. Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, I've seen her, and that may have been him. You know, I've seen her. If I'm, let me just put it. I had an experience when I was 20. Uh, it, if I'm fumbling around in the dark with looking for my key to open the door in the dark of my house or something, and I look around like this, I'm not fearful of some burglar. I don't care about him. I'll stomp into the ground. That's not my fear. I'm looking for her because she was actually there once. I mean, it's like when you turn around and look at something that's close enough to reach out and touch you, and it's not supposed to be there, and it's not something you're looking through. It's actually physical. Yeah, it's like, okay, this is what it's like to be crazy, and I'm crazy right now. You know, it's like,
and you're freaking me out.
no, seriously. You know, you have to realize this is a moment when every single piece of information you've ever processed, every piece of information you've ever of knowledge or wisdom you've assimilated over your entire life is now in question. Every single thing that you thought you knew is no longer valid.
Well, that leads me to a question I want to
Go on,
ask
man.
you about that. Do being a celebrity and a musician and an artist and a singer, do you think about those things when you're going through stuff like this? Like, what about my career? What about my voice? What are people gonna think? I mean,
Okay, so when what happened is, for me, they didn't get a heartbeat until I was actually at the hospital, actually pulling up. That's when they got a faint heartbeat, and they rolled me in. And my wife thought that they were finished with me at that particular point. They were just kind of giving up because she was in the ambulance in the front seat, didn't know what would happen. She just knew it got quiet. They hit me with the paddles 3 times in my bed and got nada. They had the adrenaline shot, got nada. Put me in the ambulance, got nada. But they have this other thing that they put underneath your skin, and it's kind of a wand-like thing that they stick into your bone, and they hit you with that bad boy 4 times. Somebody's gonna wake up. You know, let me tell you something. The 4th time I got something, so a little flutter, and they rolled me in and they shot some dye in, and they found the blockage and put a stent in to keep the passageway open, right? But then they froze me. They bring your body temperature down to 32 degrees. You see these in my hand? My nose has not stopped running since. You know what I mean? But it does periodically throughout the day. But here's what happens. That's theoretically, technically, a medically induced coma, right? When they stuck this tube down my throat, I needed my doctor friend said I needed like a size 6. This must have been a 10. This thing was choking me, and I'm in a coma. I mean, I've been in this coma for a half a day. I sit straight up, right? And I'm trying to tear this thing out because some part of me knows if this stays in, that I'll be speaking in a whisper for the rest of my life, right? You know, it's like, I got to get this thing out of here. And my wife said, you know, he's calmed down. He's not going to calm down until you take that thing out. Do you know what he does? He's not going to calm down until you take it out. She was relentless, and they took it out. They drug it out. That saved me in terms of actually just ruining something physically. You know, I mean, you can't put something that's, and you know, like a non-organic or piece of something in your organic throat like that and expect for the results to turn out really well. It's not going to happen. You
and
can't
everything in
insert
your
that.
being was saying, this is not right.
Everything in my being said, get up and get this thing out of here.
Right.
You're going to be done, man. So, and it took a while. And I tell you what changed. Then you get really frightened because your breathing pattern changes. You know, when you're on respirators and stuff like that, and somebody's it's from false breathing. So what we don't notice or think about is that our even our speaking pattern has a breath signature. You know, there's a way you breathe when you speak, when you're going to say more than 5 or 10 words. If as that adjusts, your breathing adjusts for how many words your brain is telling you you're going to say or you want to say. I mean, and it's the same with singing. So like, I got thousands of songs rolling around in my head, all with absolute and accurate breath signatures. Where I take a breath, when I take a breath, how long that breath is, how often. You know, they're all signatures. If you stop breathing for a long period of time, I mean, 10 days of even just 10 days of random breathing like that, you're not in sync anymore with the thing. So when I started singing a song, I would not run out of notes. I'd run out of air. So that scared me half to death. I mean, and then I had to figure out that I was running out of air, not notes. The notes haven't disappeared. The air has, you know. So then you have to learn how to. I started learning how to re-signature the thing by taking a breath in a different place that I needed to take a breath in order to have breath enough for the notes later on. So having to learn how to sing over again, learning how to breathe again to sing has been scary, you know, and that's, but it's, you get better at it, and then when your confidence come back, because this is really basically 30% skill set, 70% confidence. If you don't have if you lose the confidence, you lose your what's the word I'm looking for? You lose your zing.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing all of this with us. I mean, how many of you knew all of this goes into going through something like that?
Hey.
And it has to change you, and especially when you're, you know, like you said, if you lose your confidence, you're on stage entertaining the masses.
Right.
How has that experience changed your
performances? It's like what Tony was asking. It's like about what do you think about? You know, I think about people that have supported me, whether they recognize it or not, supported me for my entire career. They like what I do. There's a level of sincerity that people expect from me. You expect from me if I write a song or I sing a song, they expect me to be telling the truth about something. And it's a standard. You don't know that I'm going to talk about love, because you can talk about love all day long and never repeat yourself. It's because it's going to be different for you the next 5 minutes than it was for her, and it's never going to repeat itself, not in the same sequence. That's love. That's what love does. That's why I've written about it so much. And we don't have enough of it, and people don't know what it is, and we're scared to death of caring about anybody at these particular ones. We're even scarier now than we were before. I mean, we need a love Masters and Johnson to come along at this particular point.
Well, you know, speaking of that, we're happy that you're here, Peabo, and the fact that you're singing with Regina Bell. I mean, this is going to be unbelievable. Okay.
Yes,
he's singing
that's the way.
with Regina Bell.
Hey, look, as my favorite person, yeah, Regina. If it's a difficult song, she's gonna eat it up. She's gonna have it for lunch. That's just the way it is. You know, simple. That might give us some problems, but not difficult. And it's always amazing to me that Regina is that way. You have to understand something about these Disney songs. It's okay for somebody to come along and re-record them later, but you have to understand something. When these songs were recorded by Regina and myself and Celine Dion, they don't come with instructions. Nobody makes one suggestion about how you approach it. It's all in your personal interpretation and what you give looking at each other. That's how it is. Whatever you have in that moment. Nobody's going to say, can you sing it like this, or could you sing this line, or could you sing this line again? No suggestions. You just do what you do. You interpret it. Then that's what goes on tape. That's what won the Oscars, and that's what won the Grammys. Somebody coming along and repeating that, you're just a copy at that point.
Well, you know, people, I always ask the artists when they're here to give us like a snippet, a 10-second snippet of something that they never heard before from your vocals. Would you do that for us before you? Would you do that for us? I mean,
Yeah,
give us something, just a little preview of something before we leave here.
What would you like to hear?
What's ever in your heart.
You know, I'm actually going to record this song with Terry and Jimmy this time. I mean, I've been playing King of Sorrow on stage for a while now, for a few years. And I think I actually need to record it. And I've been threatening, and I'm going to try to get Earl Clue to get on it, which will be a very nice thing to do. You know, I've been talking to Denise about it and see if we can get him to get on board with it. And I finally have a track that that Terry and Jimmy sent me that I feel pretty good about. So there's that. But then I don't know if that's the song to sing, because I mean, sorrow visits everybody at some point. But I read something once that made me look at songs like King of Sorrow differently. I read something that said that your joy is your sorrow unmasked. Yeah, I know, right? It's like, as I was about 14, I said, "Oh yeah, that's deep, right?" So in other words, was it not the same self-will from which you drew your laughter that was oftentimes filled with your own tears? 14, I was like, "Oh yeah, Khalil, my man, go ahead." You know, so this has been around. This information has been around since 1923 when he wrote this book, and this book has been on the bestseller list since 1923. You know, you gotta look at it like it was. It's something made simple, and so it makes it. Joy, your joy is your sorrow. It's the same thing. You have to look at it like that. You can't have one without having the other. You can't have joy without having pain. And it also said that the deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you will be able to contain. And that is, so when you think something bad is happening to you, it might be the best thing that ever happened to you. You know, so you have to look at it like that. But you have to look at the other thing that I can't leave here without talking about today is grace. You know, and grace on a truly spiritual level is mind-numbing, heart-opening, life-changing forever. That's what it is. It's not like what you think it is. There's no way to really describe it. But grace, you have to understand something. I mean, for me to lose anything at this particular point, having lived in God's favor for so long, is a depressing thought. I mean, it's the most depressing thought for me to answer that question that you asked more comprehensively a while ago. The thing I fear the most is not being in God's favor any longer. But I know this. I have never said that it was me. I've always acknowledged that this was something coming through me from him. I never took the glory. It was never me. But here's the thing. If I said to you that there were not 3 people on the planet that sang better than me, there are many who sing differently, but not 3 who sing better. It's not me I'm talking about. I'm talking about the gift. I'm talking about grace. I'm not talking about, and it's my obligation. I'm obligated individually to talk about my grace.
Amen. Amen.
You know, I don't apologize for that. But it's not. Don't ever think I'm talking about me. I don't ever get that twisted. You know, that's not. I mean, it's so being in God's favor for a long, long time. Do you know what a career in this business is? It's what, 5 long years? Man, 50 years is a long time.
It's a long, amazing
50
time.
some odd years is
It's beautiful. And with that,
50 some odd years is a long time.
May I ask you what Tony asked you, if you
What?
don't mind?
Go on.
You want to sing us out? Sing a little something? He asked you to sing something for us?
I never sing this song. I mean, it's like
We'd love to hear it.
Could you tell he didn't want to do that when I asked him the question?
No.
Now you want to ask him the question?
No. But
Now, why would you do that, Angela?
Because she tried to bring me back to the original question. You know, it's like, is he trying to hedge on the song? I said, no, I'm not. I'm crying everyone's cheers inside our private war. I died the night before. Now all these remnants of joy and disaster tell me, what am I supposed to do? I want to cook you a soup that warms your soul. But nothing would change at all. And it's just the day that brings it all about. Just another day, nothing's any good. DJ's playing the same song. I've got so much to do. I've got to carry on. Will this misery, will it ever be gone? Because it feels like I'm the king of sorrow.
Peabo Bryson on
Peabo
All
Bryson.
Access.
Thank you,
All
Peabo.
access, maybe.
Thank you so much.
You know, that's not many people can make me do that because that is a hard
we
thing to do.
appreciate you and we love you so much. Thank you so much.
They don't ask
Peabo.
for much. See, he gets, and then he gets the girl to soften you up, right?
We're in cahoots.
Yeah, I know that. That's great tag teaming. I mean, she's flashing the smile
Well,
at me going,
everything you do is beautiful, man. You're just a winner. It's just that simple, you know. So, and we love you here. You know that. So
I do love you guys. I really do. And
We love
and
you
Tony
so
swears he's
much.
going to actually use my number again. We were just talking like every week for a minute. I was like, where'd Tony go to?
But I showed him
Dang.
my phone, and in my phone is his number.
My number's the
Okay.
same.
All right.
I'm just
So
saying.
he's giving me a hard time.
But
All right?
somewhere for a good time call is on some bathroom wall somewhere, I believe. That's my personal thing. That's my
That's
personal
not
belief.
true.
You know?
That's not true.
I think that's where he got it from. Whatever bathroom he put it on the last time.
Look out.
Whatever bathroom wall he put it on the last time, I think he went there and got it. He was like saying, oh, yeah, I got your number. This is it right here, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Slick,
you
Tony,
Can you
slick.
believe? Can you believe he's saying that about me, guys?
No, it's
That's a
hilarious.
shame.
Well,
And I
but
think you guys believe him
Wait,
too.
hey, listen.
That's what I think.
Wait, what's really funny is half of them actually do believe me. What does that say about you, Tony?
Giving
I
Tony
don't
the
know.
side
I don't
eye.
know what that says about me. Is that
No.
true about me, Angela?
No.
I don't think
See?
so.
He's
I'm
a-
Team
see?
Tony.
Actually, Tony's
Everybody
really.
knows I'm Team Tony.
Tony is actually a good guy, and I am too, because I mean, there ain't many guys that I talk to. I mean, you want to chat, you're a guy. I mean, I don't do small talk, and that's not what Tony and I talked about. We talked about life and life choices and what's the right thing to do and what's mine, and you have to sometimes remind people of what's theirs and who they really are, because the fight is always between our humility and our confidence. I mean, that's the fight always. Am I deserving? You got to. But grace doesn't see any of this stuff. You gotta embrace grace the right way. If you embrace it the right way, you don't have to answer any of these questions. None of these questions need to be asked or answered because it's already there. I mean, here's right. Let me say something. Everybody knows Tony from these cruises, and everybody's ever come in contact with. Heir apparent is an heir apparent. There's nothing for it. Nothing's going to change that. Birthright is birthright. You can't change that. You can't. There's nothing you can do about it. And we're just all sitting here waiting on him to take that step because we're going to support him every single step of the
Yes.
way.
Oh, that's beautiful. You received that.
He's so difficult sometimes to listen to because he makes me feel like a little boy, because he's so right,
Yes.
I mean, it's like when you're talking to your father, your mother, or someone that you really respect, and you just feel like a little boy, or a little girl. So, people, I love you for that,
No,
man.
I
really
love you
do,
for it, man. I mean,
really
as
do.
you are, as I loved your father. Same way,
This all access is over now. You know that,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
we're
we're
just
just
having a
kicking
it.
conversation. I mean, I
We're
don't know
just
why y'all
kicking
sitting here,
We're just kicking it right now. But are you enjoying this? Did you enjoy Peabo Bryson?
I can't tell you how much I love you guys. I can't. I love you all like that. I mean, I really do. But I have. I mean, that's one of the reasons why, here's the thing: if I didn't know you and have a relationship with you before, and if I was walking around this ship before and I did not acknowledge your presence or anything like that, I was in any way, you wouldn't have prayed for me. You would have no reason to pray for me, quite frankly. And if you do these things, I mean, you gotta again. I remind everybody: if you're an artist and you do this thing, if you don't have good people skills, don't come out. Don't come out. Don't come out. You know, if you can't sit among the people, I mean, what are you scared of? What you scared of? I mean, it's like that's why I like Joel Austin and people like it because we just people. I mean, when I lose the ability to sit down and talk with you and have a chat, then I need to be selling insurance online.
You're online.
Online, so I don't ever have to come and contact you for real, you know. So it's like, what? We can't break bread together. What are you gonna do? Take my food? All this food on board? You can't. Come on. I mean.
All right. Well, we want to thank you
last
guys
April.
for coming. We really do.
Yep.
Yes.
It's almost a year. Yeah, almost a year. Thank you. I'm doing very, very well. Thank you. Again, I want to thank all you guys, and I want to thank Tony and this lovely lady who is.
Thank you guys so
Gets
much.
me. You gets me.
Give people a round of applause.
She turns my head like this. Look, she got my arm behind my back like that.
Thank you guys.